Well, the idea of a feast, or fast, coupled with giving thanks is probably about as old as agriculture itself, and the tradition as we know it descends from maybe a dozen different harvest festivals on both sides of the Atlantic, but I guess you're here to hear about pilgrims. 1608, a separatist congregation who don't seem to have called themselves pilgrims at all have had enough of persecution from mainstream Anglicans in Scrooby, Nottinghamshire, and moved to Leyden in the Netherlands. 1614, one of John Smith's lieutenants, Thomas Hunt, voiced by a young Christian Bale, captured several natives, including a Pawtuxet named Tisquantum, with intent to sell into slavery in Spain. Tisquantum ends up working for a London shipbuilder of all people and learns English. 1619, the hostile alien coastline of New England is apparently more alluring than being overrun with Dutchmen and or the threat of being overrun with Spaniards because the Leyden congregation obtains a somewhat compromising colonization contract with the London Company. Tisquantum finally makes it home to Pawtuxet and is reunited with his family and friends' unburied skeletons. A series of plagues wiped out the entire Pawtuxet tribe while he was away. 1620, some 50 laden separatists, 52 other colonists hired by the investors, and the Mayflower's crew reach the cleared Pawtuxet village and settle down, renaming it Plymouth. Only half of them get sick and die by March, so go Europe, I guess. 1621, Tisquantum, who's been living with the Wampanoag and whom the colonists call Squanto, teaches them how to farm corn, maize, in this country, it involves herring, and becomes their general guide and translator because it's not like he has a whole lot else going on. Things go so well for the colonists that come harvest time, they and 90 or so Wampanoags, including Massasoit, feast for 3 days. 1630, the Massachusetts Bay colonists, established 2 years prior, hold their own Thanksgiving and continue to do so when warranted. When unwarranted, they fast instead, because Puritans, until it becomes an annual festival in Massachusetts and Connecticut. 1777, the tradition is originally to hold Thanksgiving, which isn't necessarily a feast, only when something particularly good happens. In this case, the victory at Saratoga prompts the Continental Congress and General Washington to proclaim a nationwide, well, mostly, Day of Thanks for December 18th. 1789, President Washington proclaims a Thanksgiving for November 26th, starting a tradition, though not by any means an annual one, of presidents and or governors declaring a November Thanksgiving. 1863, the president, I guess I should be more specific, the best president, recommends the last Thursday in November for Thanksgiving. 1939, FDR has 3 years in a row with 5 Thursdays in November and decides to push Thanksgiving back to the second to last Thursday. This change goes over with the Republicans about as well as you'd expect, and only about half the country goes along with it, though Texas notably takes both Thursdays off, which might be the best idea I've heard all month. 1942, Congress finally steps in and passes a joint resolution legally fixing Thanksgiving as the 4th Thursday in November, so that's all taken care of. What else can we talk about here? Turkey. Turkey is traditional partially because it's American, but mostly because pound for pound it used to be the cheapest meat you could serve, and feast demanded quantity. Also, it's delicious.